New Year's Eve. Meh, I'll be honest, I don't really celebrate this day, nothing really to talk about.
Don't humans come up with some goal in the Terran New Year's?
Many do, I tend not to, I just try and be better. I'm working to get back home, and once I'm home, I'm hoping to be baptized by the Catholic Church. I'm also hoping we'll start printing and selling at least one of our books, if not 3 in the next year.
I'm looking forward to seeing Old Terra, though what's a baptism? Isn't that something nocturnals do when putting their dead to rest?
That's a baptism by fire, and that's a crusading method, though on the dead it's more of an attempt to stop diseases from being spread.
Oh dear Emperor, you brought up diseases. Is this another Nurgle video?
Oh god, no. I've genuinely talked too much about the diseased beast. Though the beasts of Nurgle are an interesting subject, but they're a short thing, really.
So, what are you considering talking about for this video?
Actually, you're not far off with the Forces of Chaos, but it's a completely different Chaos entity. I think I'll talk about Khorne's former favorite.
Former? I'll be honest with you, I don't talk about a whole lot with Khornites, or former Khornites. They tend to not talk much at all with nails in their brains.
The Khorne Daemon Skarbrand. Now, Skarbrand in 40k doesn't have a whole lot of past lore, unlike Nurgle's favorite, but Skarbrand does have a few stories that do spread across both fantasy and 40k. So let's talk about that. Now, there are no individual books, but he does appear in old codices. For example, the 4th, 6th, and 8th edition codices, and then randomly throughout the Old World and Age of Sigmar stuff. Obviously, there's a little bit more in the fantasy setting, not a whole lot unfortunately, as it seems his character was written good ways into 40,000, which means they kinda have to spread the daemon across both of them. Maybe. So, what has Skarbrand done in his history? Well, the best he's known for is his ruination, basically. He destroys kingdoms of the mortal realms and Milky Way galaxy. Hell, some reports say he's destroyed entire planets by himself. Honestly, a single daemon, even if he is a bloodthirster, being able to take out an entire planetary defense force is impressive. And yes, I am using that full name because of how people have abbreviated it is now used for the P. Diddy thing. Daemons have to come from warp rifts, which are often these tiny holes where daemons can come out of and try and pull on the edges of the rift to allow for more or bigger daemons. Often they simply just corrupt and possess psychers and use those powers and those in power to try and make the rifts larger as well in order to get more daemons out. So Skarbrand being able to by himself do this is actually a miracle. He managed to find a rift, make it big enough for him to go through it, then shrink it so he is the only one in that world or in that area himself is genuinely impressive and miraculous. Khorne daemons are insanely hard to control, even by Khorne himself, I want to point out. So the fact that he is able to restrain himself in ways to make it so he's the only one is just wow. Of course, it doesn't really give any actual worlds that are named with any actual reason behind them, but the only world with lore that we've ever actually seen be destroyed is, well, Cadia. Honestly, we need more important worlds destroyed. Ball got close, but it genuinely seems as though the worlds that have existed since 2nd edition have no risk, while worlds that just show up might actually be destroyed, like Ogron. But there's a few things that actually show the power of Skarbrand, and that's his leadership invasions of both the first palace of Slaanesh and slaughtering the Poxviathan of Nurgle. Poxviathan? The hell is this? And the only information about this thing is that Skarbrand killed it. That's it. Holy shit. There is less than nothing about this guy except one damn story about how he got his name.
You didn't expect this when you started writing this, huh?
No, I was genuinely expecting some actual novels on this guy, because he's the face of Khorne Daemons. We've gotten stories about Khorne and his legions, but not about his daemons, apparently. Angron is literally the closest we got. And Karn, I guess. Okay. So, let's get into the one thing and the one event that Skarbrand is known for, or even has on his records. So, apparently, other Chaos entities can talk to daemons that are not their own, because Skarbrand apparently was listening to Tzeentch directly. Why did Tzeentch talk to a daemon not his own? Easy answer! The results were funny. There's a good possibility that Tzeentch also wanted to use the Slaughterer to kill enemies he himself had. Tzeentch essentially just made fun of Skarbrand, saying how he wasn't that powerful, egging him into stupid mistakes and such. Apparently, Tzeentch kept egging him to do some complete insanity, bigger and better acts of rage and slaughter, until Skarbrand decided to swing his axe at his actual father and the source of his power. And you know what happened? Khorne looked at his son and said,
"Ho, 向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか."
So the guy gripped his boy and literally suffocated him until the guy got brain damage and couldn't think at all. Khorne then dragged the guy to his cathedral, brought him bouncing up the stairs, and hooked him into next week, literally. I'm curious about how far he flew metrically, given how the warp works with weird time shenanigans and whatnot, but it seems he did even better after being yeeted than he did beforehand. After finally landing and not having enough gray matter to remember his own name or how to talk, he was sent into real space to fight a few dozen Grey Knights and light a world on fire. Apparently Skarbrand landing actually reshaped Khorne's territory in the realms of chaos. Neat! But after these events, he still had one thing he did. He went to Cadia, destroyed a fortress which some planet-busting weapon was involved with, got his teeth kicked in by Dante, came back, made friends with a Slaaneshi demon trying to destroy a craft world, then decided to ally with the Red Corsairs to throw hands with Rabote Gilliman because the Corsairs wanted to keep him alive for some reason. Actually, I think the Corsairs were the dumber ones on this side of the argument. That was really stupid. Why would you want Rabote to be kept alive? The last event in canon that Skarbrand was a part of was the Blood Crusade, which was in 8th edition core rulebook. So almost a decade now. Damn. Games Workshop, you need to make, like, just one single edition work. And stop making so many different editions. Just add to one when you find one that works. People said that 8th edition was good. Others prefer 5th. I'm certain someone thinks that 6th was the best, but I don't know how many. Instead, take a look at what y'all think is the best. Go to that, improve it, sell that, and add on top of that. Make more models, make more units, and make more armies. Make it so that so many different models for each army, it's quite literally impossible for each army at a competitive level to have the same units. At least that's what Battletech does, and that company outright insulted its audience, so shove off.